Hello and welcome to this video. This is a tutorial on a chorale from my newly published chorale book here, J.S. Bach 436, 4-part chorales, the ultimate edition for performance, study, and sight reading. It is available in hard copy and a nice spiral bound edition here, and also non-printable PDF. Although for this tutorial here, which I am also offering on YouTube as well as a well-rounded pianist, I have selected just this page from the chorale, and it is available on a free PDF if you go to the Bach Chorale website. The link is below this video where you can get this particular chorale for free. So you don't have to buy this book for this particular tutorial. I would never do that. I would never have you have to buy a $59 book for one chorale. But if you want all 436 of them, go to the link below this video and get your book today. It's an excellent edition. It's very highly legible. You might already be familiar with J.S. Bach's 24 easy 4-part chorales. It's one of Bach Scholar's best-selling books. This is a selection of 24 of the lesser difficult chorales and very easy to read manuscript here. Currently, I have 72 tutorial videos on this on the Well-Rounded Pianist website. It's broken down into 3 tutorials per chorale. So if you would like to have detailed instruction, hands alone then hands together, on any of the chorales in this book, please go and join the Well-Rounded Pianist. It's an excellent site with thousands of videos on there to help you become a better pianist. So, and also from time to time I will be posting also tutorials on this book, the 436 4-part chorale book in the Well-Rounded Pianist. This is the first one since this book has newly been published, and I haven't done any tutorials from it yet. But the chorale that I've chosen for today's tutorial is number 220. It is on page 149, and it is a very beautiful little chorale here, consisting of just 4 lines. It's in the key of G minor. The reason I chose it was, well, it's a beautiful chorale, as they all are, but I chose it because it requires a lot of pedal. It's very sort of romantic sounding. It's in the key of G minor. It has some chords that Chopin or Liszt would have used if they were in the key of G minor. And it teaches you how to play chords and stretch out, and to help you use the pedal to achieve a good sound on the piano. So it really does a lot of things. Chorales are not just good for sight reading. I know that I emphasize that they're good for sight reading, but sight reading put aside, once the sight reading is over, you have to start making music. So let's think about making music here, not just reading notes or sight reading. So what you need to do first is go download your free PDF. It's a 1-page PDF of this page 149, and you can follow along with this as you learn to play this chorale. Now, I want to take, as I usually do on the Well-Rounded Pianist with the 24 easy 4-part chorales, I want to take hands separately on this first. So we're going to just play the right hand first with no pedal. Okay, so we're going to take this first chord. We're going to take that B flat, the tenor B flat, with the right hand. So let's just play 1, 2, 5 here. Then you don't have to connect this to this. You don't have to connect the G, the half note G, to the next A in the soprano. Simply because we're going to use pedal to help us do that. So you just play this, and then you sort of just put your third finger over, and you're going to play 1, 3. We're also going to take that D with the right hand thumb, and then you're going to hold the third finger down on A, And then you're going to play 1 and 4 on D and B flat. 2 on G, 1 and 5, put 2 over to E flat. Don't worry about connecting C to D, just lift and play an octave on that D. So that first 2 measures, we have that chord, then we have these. Now we're going to play 2, 5, 3. Very important that you hold your 5th finger down on that C. Then we're going to play 3, 4, and play your thumb on that tenor note D. Now this whole next measure, and you're going to take 3 notes with the right hand. So you're going to play 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then either 1, 2, 4, or you can do that if you want also. The advantage to the first way is you can connect A to G. The advantage to the second way is you have to lift A, but you'll be connecting C to B flat. So now let's play the first 4 measures here with just the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. We have that. Also, make sure that you bring out the melody note on top. So voice the G, then voice the A, B flat, C, D, G, C, or voice the C, voice the B flat. You won't be able to connect the B flat to the A. So just lift your top fingers, keep your thumb down, like that. Notice I did that the second fingering way. I did 2, 3, 5 there. Now we're going to go on. We're going to play 1, 3, 5, then 1, 3, 5 again, and then 1, 5. And then this tie, the tie that's on that D there, really just ignore it. I know, why did he write it? Well, he wrote it because it's not written for piano. This is written for soprano, alto, tenor, bass. But I would just replay that D because it's impossible, physically impossible to tie it over. So in theory, it's tied, but in actual practice, it's not. Then play 1, 2, 5, 2, and then 1, 5 on the octave, and then 2, 5, 1, 3, 2, 5, 1, and 1, 4. So now let's play all the first 8 measures to the repeat sign. 1, 2, and 3. once repeated. Now let's go on with the right hand here. We're going to take the C, the F, and the A with the left, or I'm sorry, with all the right hand. Then we're going to play the C and the G with 1 and 3, and play 1, 5 while you're holding 3 down on G. Then you're going to put 4 over to B flat. And then you're going to play your octave there. Then you don't really have to connect to the C to the B flat. Just lift and play 2, 5, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then lift the top fingers but keep your thumb down. We're going to play all these with the right hand. Now it's interesting to notice that after the repeat sign, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 measures are virtually the same as the very first 4 measures. It's just transposed into a different key. So the first phrase, the first 4 measure phrase, we have then you have another 4 measures. But then after the repeat sign, you have it's the same thing. Virtually the same fingering, and it's the same music, it's just transposed to a different key. Very interesting the way that works. Now we're on this measure here, the 3rd line down, 4th measure over. You're going to lift after the fermata, and you're going to come up to 1 and 4, 2, 1, 3, then we have a 4, 2, 1, 5, 2, and then you can just lift and play 1, 5 there. Then 2, 5, make sure you play 2 on that F sharp, and make sure that the soprano, the top note, the soprano D, C, D is connected. So don't put any gaps in there. Then we're gonna play that D in the tenor with the right hand. So we have that, and then that. Now we're gonna just reposition, come up. And you're gonna play 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, and then 2, 5, and then 2, 5 again, and then 2, 5. And then 1, 4, like that. That's how I would finger the right hand. Now, I've mentioned I've mentioned in several tutorials before on YouTube and The Well-Rounded Pianist how I'm opposed to writing in fingerings all the time to the music. Now, take that with a grain of salt. If you're totally beginning and need to write in fingerings, then certainly write in the fingerings. But if you were upper intermediate level to advanced, or you've played piano for over 10 years, it's about time you've learned to start to memorize fingerings instead of having to write them in. So writing in fingerings, in my opinion, is more of an intermediary approach to going from beginning to advanced. Once you're at I would say the upper intermediate level to the advanced level, it's probably best not to write in fingerings, to actually try to remember them because it will help you in your reading of music in the future. And you know, nothing is cast into stone as far as fingering goes. Fingering can vary. Like I might decide on a fingering today, and then a week later I'll play it and I'll decide, well, I want certain fingers different. So I never commit myself 100% to a fingering from the very beginning. So that's what you should do too. Experiment with fingerings and see what you can come up with. And don't always have to write in all the fingers. If you do write in fingerings, do it with a pencil lightly so you can erase. And bear in mind and keep in mind that you may change fingerings as you go along, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing to adapt and to learn by your mistakes and to experiment with fingerings as you're going along and learning it the second and the third time around. Now let's look at the left hand. And from the beginning here, we've taken the tenor with the right hand, which means we only play one note with the left hand. I'm going to play the G with the left hand here, G, and then remember we're taking that D with the right hand, so I just played 3 on that F sharp, and then we're taking that D once again with the right hand, so we can just play our thumb, and then I would just switch to 4 on there, 3, 1, 2, and then 5, and then 4, 1, and then 3, 2. Remember, we're going to take that D with the right hand, and then the next measure with all the tenor notes with the right hand. So just play that C, D, G. So the first 4 measures again. That easy. Now we're going to lift at 5 on B flat. Stretch your hand out too, like this. Don't put it in a 5-finger position. Stretch it out. And just play 5. And then 5, 1 here. So we're just going to play 5, 5, 5. 5, 5, 1 and 5. Now we're just going to jump down. Play 5 on this G. Keep your hands spread out. 5 on the A. And then 1 and 5 on the B flats. And then 3 on that E flat. 1, 5, 2, 1, 3, and then 1, 5. So let's try that now from the beginning up to the repeat sign. Or actually, if you want, you can play 4 there and then jump to 1, 5. We have that. Now let's go on after the repeat sign. Remember, we're taking these tenor notes with the right hand. 1, switch to 4, 3, 2, 1. We're taking that C with the right hand. Have that. Then switch your positions. Take D's with 5 and 1, 4 and 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now do this. Put your thumb under. to B flat. I know it seems weird, like that. So let's take it from the D octave here. Now we're going to play 5-2. Make sure to hold that E flat down. 5 and 2. Lift, put your thumb on D. And now we're going to play 3, 4, 5. Ah, we ran out of fingers. Ran out of fingers. What are you going to do? Well, just put 4 over. Most pianists wouldn't even think of that. Put 4 over. You have to sort of turn your wrist this way to do that. And now, just lift and play 1-5. You won't be able to connect unless you have unless you're very flexible. You can connect. I can do it if I want, but not everyone could do that. It's not a big deal. You can break that if you need to. Now 3-1, 5. Make sure you play your thumb up here so it can reach F sharp. Now 5-2. Now let's try the left hand again, and we're going to go all the way through with the repeat with just the left hand. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Keep it nice and slow and steady. 1, 1, 2. And 3, and repeat. Now go on after the repeat. Now we've done both hands separately. Now we're going to put them together. And let's do this first with no pedal. So focus on trying to get your fingering and keeping a nice steady beat with no pedal. Then we're going to add pedal after that. So here we go. after the repeat. What I like to do, if you've probably noticed when I'm in my chorale playing on YouTube, is I like to often take 2, maybe sometimes 3 verses through, since these are such short little pieces. So that was one time through. Now you may have noticed that it's a little dry without pedal. So we're going to add pedal now. Make it sound as romantic as you possibly can. Pretend like it was written by Chopin or Brahms. So now we're going to just use a lot of damper pedal now. So push your right pedal down. And now pedal, 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 change, 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 change. Basically every quarter note will have a pedal. Hear how the pedal fills in the gaps? One thing great about using pedals, when you come to ends of cadences here, like we're on this B flat chord here, you keep the pedal down, lift. Then when you get to this chord, you change the pedal. If you don't use pedal at all, you have a dead sound. The second you lift off the notes, there's no sound, which is not good. You want to keep the pedal down. Here you have to lift to a totally new position. You're down here at the fermata. Now you lift and come way up here. I love that part there. Do you know what that's called, this cadence? When you have a minor 4 going to a 5, we're in G minor. So D is the 5, that's the dominant. We have the previous chord is we have E flats, a G and a C. That's a C minor in first inversion. Okay, so a C minor and G minor related to G is a 4. It's a minor 4 chord. So we have a minor 4 chord, minor 4 going to a 5. That's a half cadence. It's also known as a Phrygian cadence, or sometimes known as a Phrygian half cadence. could slow down a little bit there at the end. Now, let's talk about tempo. Let's talk about tempo. I'm going to open my metronome app here on my phone. Here we go. Since my metronome on my normal metronome, you can't hear it enough. So I have my metronome here. I have it set on 63. I think 63 is probably a good speed for this. I know I recorded this a few years ago on YouTube a little faster, but I think I've gravitated towards a slightly slower speed now. I mean, you can experiment with different speeds, but I think you don't want to go too fast, because if you go too fast, when you get to the more of the rolling eighth notes here towards the end, you'll discover that you'll have to slow down to get those notes. So you want to really go slow enough to where you accommodate the final eighth notes here, the last four measures. So I'm going to put it on 63, and let's play through it now. 63 per quarter note. Notice that I'm going to slow down a little bit before the fermata. Actually, I'm going to stop that again so I can say something. I like to do this. I like to play the first four measures. Okay, I like to play the first four measures up to this fermata. I like to do a little ritardando here before the first fermata. Just a little bit. So I'm going to ignore the metronome when we get here. Then you pick back up here with the speed of the metronome. And this can be, you don't really have to slow down much here because you have a dotted half note. You have a lot of time there. So you don't need to put a lot of extra time. I put extra time here because you only have a quarter note. And I want more breathing space there for the phrase. Then we come here, not much. Then you do the same thing for these four measures. When you get to this fermata, you're going to do the same thing you did in the first four measures. Slow down a little bit when you get here. Then pick the tempo back up when you're here. And this half cadence, the Phrygian half cadence here, that doesn't need very much ritardando because it's already long enough. You know, you have dotted half note here. That's a long time, even with no ritardando or no extension. So you don't really, fermatas don't always mean necessarily to hold it longer. They're just breathing points. And different fermatas have different functions. So you're not always going to do the same thing on every fermata. Then towards the end, of course, almost 95% of the time, or even 100% of the time, at the end of chorales, you want to slow down a little bit. So just to recap here, we're going to first four measures, a little retard to here, pick back up, go to here, do the repeat. Then a little retard going into this fermata, pick back up here, no retard until you get to the very end here. So that's what I like to do, and I'm going to do that here now at 63 on the metronome. Ready and play. do it again, and slow down here. And repeat. Slow down here. Slow down. Slow down at the end. If you play this through 2 times, you can always slow down a little bit more the last time around. So the way I played it was very romantic. Yes, romantic. There's nothing wrong with playing romantic Bach. You know, all those people that say it has to be dry and no pedal and you can't slow down anywhere and it has to be metronomic, don't listen to those people. Do not listen to them. It's not music. It's romantic. You have to make this sound like it were composed by Brahms or Chopin or Liszt. Imagine if it were composed by a romantic composer. How would you play it? Would you play it totally metronomically all the way through? No, you wouldn't. You would give it these nuances that I've discussed here. But not all chorales are the same. If you look through all 436 chorales in this book, you will see that not all chorales have the same structure. So I'm not always going to slow down the first phrase. I'm not always going to do exactly what I did in this chorale to say this chorale. So you have to take each chorale separately as its own piece and decide what the best musical decisions are for that particular chorale. So I really thank you for joining me, and I look forward to doing more tutorials from this book. This is just a gold mine. It's just a treasure trove of chorales which are very easy to read and just a beautiful layout here. I'm really happy about this book, and I'm happy to teach you out of this book here. So long live Bach Chorales. Go get your chorale books, either this one or the 24 Easy 4-part chorales if you don't have that already. And stay tuned for more videos like this in this series.